everyone, today, one of the most important days of the year, Spotify Wrapped is finally out. And of course, before I get into it, sorry for any background noise or dust particles that may occur throughout this video. Also, really quickly on the screen, I'm going to put my little predictions as to who I think is going to be my top artist, my top podcast, my top genre, that kind of stuff. And let's get into it. Very excited to see the results. Okay, 2022 Wrapped. The animations that they do for this always are not the best. Enough about 2022, let's talk about you. Welcome to your Wrapped. This year, you ventured into the genreverse. Okay, you explored 18 different genres. That's lower than it was last year. I looked at mine last year, I had 67. Let's see, number 1, pop. Number 2, urban contemporary. I guess that just means R&B. I hate all these stupid categories. Urban contemporary, what even is that supposed to mean? 3, singer-songwriter. 4, deep talent show. What does that mean? Deep talent show? What does that mean? Do they mean like the stuff that I listen to from The Voice? Is that what they mean? Because otherwise I have no idea what they mean. And then number 5 is indie pop. Okay, I guess this makes a lot more sense than last year, because last year my top genre was dance pop. Yeah, I know it's a subgenre of pop, but my top artist was Mariah Carey. And so that just didn't really make sense. I guess that's what they classify her as, but it doesn't really make sense. She's more of an R&B artist, so I didn't really get that. But this year it definitely makes more sense, so I will say that. But I guess I thought I explored more than 18 different genres. Seems kind of low for me. All that listening added up. All right, let's see how many minutes I have this year. 124,479 minutes. That's more than 99% of other listeners in the United States. It's down from last year, which I knew would be. I definitely didn't listen to as much music as I did last year. I didn't think it was going to be this high. I could definitely see it going over 100,000, but 124,000 is a lot. And also, you have to remember, I do have an Apple Music account that I listen to, like Anita Baker on, for example, and I listen to stuff on YouTube, so technically I listen to more music this year, and this isn't even the entire year, but very interesting overall. With one song, it was Love at first listen. Watch This Be As It Was or Break My Soul Watch. Break My Soul. What did I say? What did I say? I knew this was going to be my top song, or As It Was. Okay, so I listened to it 149 times with the most listens on June 21st, 2022. So I listened to it a fair amount of times before the album came out, and then the album dropped and I was listening to it in context. So I was pretty sure that this was going to be my top song. Not really surprised by this at all. You played 2,850 songs, but these played again and again and again. So it's probably going to show me like my top 5 maybe, or my top 100 songs playlist, which we'll go over later. Okay, number 1, Break My Soul. Number 2, As It Was by Harry Styles. Number 3, Candy Moon by Harry Styles. Number 4, Long Ago by Mariah Carey. And number 5, Virgo's Review by Beyonce. Honestly, this is an amazing top 5. I did not think my top 5 was going to be this good. And for context, whenever I listen to artists and whatever, normally I listen to full albums. Of course, I listen to songs here and there, but if I really love an artist, I will listen to their entire album. And Beyonce and Harry's albums, I listened to so many times all throughout this year. So I knew that they were going to make it. I really thought Harry was going to just sweep my entire top 5 because I listened to his album a lot. I also listened to Beyonce's album a lot. It's also important to remember with Spotify Wrapped, they count the song more if you actually search the song up and play it. Also, they kind of diversified a little bit more. Because I should have had more Mariah Carey songs in my top 100 than I did. Like, it should have been like 80% Mariah Carey songs last year because I listened to so much. So it's not the most accurate. I'm really happy with this top 5. I mean, Beyonce twice, we have Harry twice, and then we have Mariah Long Ago. And yes, I'm really glad Mariah was in my top 5. Of course, I listened to Mariah a lot this year, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna be my top artist, of course, but I really didn't think she was gonna make top 5 because I listened to their other albums a lot more, though I do listen to a lot of Mariah. So I'm really glad that she's on my top 5 for this year, of course, and I love Long Ago. So it's a good top 5 overall. And then they say your year can't be contained in a playlist, but we tried anyway. So we have my top 100 songs, and we will go over all of that at the end because I really want to finish everything, but just wait till the ending for that part. You listened to 404 artists this year, but one World Your World. That's a lot of different artists. So I'm actually surprised that I listened to that many different artists. That's very cool. And we already know who's going to be number 1. Mariah Carey, obviously. Yep, your top artist this year was Mariah Carey. You spent 24,398 minutes together. You were in the top 0.001% of Mariah Carey listeners this year, and we already knew Mariah was going to be number 1. No shocker here. If you're subscribed to my channel, if you watch enough of my videos, Mariah is my favorite artist of all time, so I already knew she's going to be at number 1. That was already locked in. Listened to a lot of Mariah this year, of course, and so I might have had a higher percentage last year because I listened to over double this amount of time. I had like 60,000 minutes last year just because I listened to more music in general, but this is still a lot, still a very high percentage overall. And yeah, Mariah's my favorite artist, knew she was gonna be at number 1. And I really love that she changed her Spotify profile picture back to the butterfly era, because this really eats whenever I'm gonna be sharing my raps on social media and have this as the picture. Like, she just really ate with that in this era. And Mariah Carey, one of the best artists of all time, love Mariah. And then it tells me that I couldn't stop listening to Long Ago, which was once again expected. You like these artists so much, we put them on the cover of a magazine, kind of. Okay. let's see what this looks like. I'm really curious to see what they did. So I have seen this on social media. The art design for this kind of ugly, but I will show you guys my top artists. So I have number 1 Mariah Carey, number 2 Janet Jackson, number 3 Beyonce, number 4 Harry Styles, and number 5 Paul McCartney. So pretty solid list overall, and I'm really glad I was able to get Beyonce to the top 3, and just because I like it better aesthetically, because you have Mariah, Janet, and then Beyonce, so I love that, and then Harry, and then Paul McCartney. After last year when Janet Jackson didn't make my top 5, I was like, no, she's making my top 5 this year. And Janet Jackson, I'm pretty sure she was like my 6th most artist listened to last year. So if I would have listened to her a little bit more, she would have made my top 5, and that gets on my nerves. But this year, I was like, we're not making the same mistakes. Some things had to be rectified this year, and so now it's looking a lot better. I mean, Mariah, Janet, Beyonce, Harry, Paul McCartney. I think that that's a pretty good top 5 overall. So I'm happy with it overall. I actually did see some of the graphics on social media looking at other people's, but this is obviously the first time I'm seeing mine. So really interesting overall. Happy with the top 5. You spent 8,769 minutes listening to podcasts. Here are shows your ears like the most. Like I said, number 1's either going to be comedically hard-headed or it's going to be The Read. So it's between 2 of those. I don't know which one could be a number 1. I could see both. So we will see what happens in that regard. Okay, number 1, The Read. Number 2, comedically hard-headed. Number 3, The Obsessed Podcast. And number 4 is going to be Rolling Stone. So yeah, pretty expected. The Read is my favorite podcast of all time. Comedically hard-headed is a really great podcast by this YouTuber Calvin Michaels, and he talks about pop culture, music. He's like a history buff as well. Like, he has a really great channel, so if you haven't watched him before, check it out. But this is more so like a storytelling podcast. He talks about his past. It's really, really great. I listened to some of these episodes twice, so I really enjoyed it this year. Number 3, The Obsessed Podcast. So this is a podcast whenever they talk about Mariah Carey, so I listened to some episodes of that. Then number 4 was going to be Rolling Stone music, so I listened to some episodes of those as well. And I don't even have a 5th one because I didn't listen to one enough for it to make number 5, I suppose. But yeah, this seems pretty accurate overall. You spent 4,165 minutes with your top podcast, The Read, and you absolutely love to see it. They were my top podcast last year, I believe, as well, so pretty expected. Love The Read very, very much. Highly recommend listening to it if you haven't already. This year you had layers like an onion, but you listen to music unlike an onion. Why do they keep writing stuff like this? I don't get it. But let's see where they're taking me with this. The Enthusiast. You're a super fan. When your favorite artist releases new music, you're among the first to know, going above and beyond to show your support. I mean, this seems pretty generic. It doesn't really seem that special, whatever. I guess I would say that that's true for my favorite artist, Mariah Carey, and all artists I really like in general, but whatever. Familiarity, newness, loyalty, and commonality. Okay, whatever that's supposed to mean. Thanks for sending 2022 with us. Here's your year squeezed onto a page. This is the part I was waiting for. Okay, yes. I love these little infographics because I can share these on social media. But I mean, yeah, what a good year. What a good top 5. I mean, really love to see it. And now let's go into my top songs of this year and just kind of analyze them really quickly. All right. So we have Break My Soul by Beyonce, Expected, As It Was, Harry Styles, Expected, Cannon Moon, Long Ago, Virgo Scoob, that's already my top 5. We went over that. Dang, at number 6 was Doesn't Really Matter by Janet. Ugh, I really wish I would have had a Janet song in my top 5, but you know, next year, I'm coming back for you, baby. Like, all right, next up, we have Carolina by Harry Styles, Breakdown by Mariah Carey featuring Crazy Bone and Wishbone. I don't have this liked in my library because she released a new version of Butterfly, so I just like the new version of it, but I did listen to the song a lot, and it definitely would have ended up higher on my list if the versions would have been like combined on Spotify. I hate whenever they do that because it messes up my streams, so it would have been nice to have the song higher, but I mean, it still made my top 10, so it's pretty cool. And then we have Thick by Beyonce. Really surprised I got so high up. I didn't even like this song at first, and then it really grew on me. I don't really know how they decide which song goes where, but whatever. And then we have Lover for Life by Whitney Houston. My favorite Whitney Houston song. Love this song so much. What a hidden gem in her discography. The I'm Your Baby Tonight album is a classic. And then we have Sunflower Volume 6 by Harry Styles. Okay. Fantasy, Mariah Carey. Alien Superstar by Beyonce. Broken Hearts Heal by Janet. Sweet Creature, Harry Styles. Baby Doll, Mariah Carey. Next up, we have Cozy, Beyonce. Thinking About My Ex, Janet Jackson. Music for a Sushi Restaurant, Harry Styles. Underneath the Stars, Mariah Carey. I'm That Girl, Beyonce. Underneath the Stars is a lot lower this year than it was last year. I just listened to it a lot more last year, I suppose, but Underneath the Stars is objectively my favorite Mariah Carey song. So I love Underneath the Stars very, very much. I guess I thought it would appear higher, but I kind of get in phases with her albums and stuff, so like there's one album I get really obsessed with or a song I get really obsessed with, and I listen to that on repeats. And this year, that was Long Ago for me. I really realized how brilliant that song was this year, but all love to Underneath the Stars, one of her best songs. And then we have I'm That Girl, Beyonce. Unbreakable, Janet Jackson, love that song. She, Harry Styles, Love Takes Time, Mariah Carey, yes. Move by Beyonce featuring Grace Jones and Thames. Demita Joe by Janet Jackson. Matilda, Harry Styles, Do You Think of Me, Mariah Carey. And finally, they put this in my top songs. Because last year, this was one of my most listened to songs, and then they didn't put it in there, which is a bunch of BS, because I know I listened to it enough to have it in my top 100. So I had to fix it this year. I was like, I have to get my streaming numbers up, so I made it. And then we're gonna have America Has a Problem by Beyonce, yes. I'm Gonna Call My Lover, Janet Jackson. Late Night Talking, Harry Styles. Honey Me, Mariah Carey, Pure Honey, Beyonce, Exhibition by Janet Jackson, Boyfriends, Harry Styles, which is a good song. A lot of people don't like it, but I always like Boyfriends for the record, okay? And then we have 4th of July, Mariah Carey, Church Girl, Beyonce, All For You, Janet Jackson, Cinema, Harry Styles, Always Be My Baby, classic. Cuff It, Beyonce, Mrs. Robinson, it was a voice performance, Jim and Sasha Allen, Satellite, Harry Styles, All In Your Mind, Mariah Carey. Love this song. My list is so good. Like, I just really ate this year, okay? Energy featuring Beam, All Night Don't Stop by Janet Jackson, Little Freak, Harry Styles, Butterfly, Mariah Carey, Summer Renaissance, Beyonce, Like You Don't Love Me, Janet Jackson, Love of My Life by Harry Styles, I Am Free by Mariah Carey, Plastic Off the Sofa, Beyonce, I Want You by Janet Jackson, Daydreaming by Harry Styles, Close My Eyes, Mariah Carey, Kitty Cat, Beyonce, Better Days, Janet Jackson, Daylight by Harry Styles, Giving Me Life, Mariah Carey featuring Slick Rick and Blood Orange, Your Song, the voice performance, I Miss You Much, Janet Jackson, Banger, Keep Driving, Harry Styles, Looking In, Mariah Carey, Freakum Dress by Beyonce, yes, R&B Junkie by Janet, Grape Juice by Harry, Forever, Mariah, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, Jim and Sasha Allen, Lonely by Janet, Sign of the Times by Harry, Melt Away, Mariah Carey, Stay, The Voice, Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson, Cherry, Harry Styles, Alone in Love, Mariah Carey, Every Night by Paul McCartney, Living in a World They Didn't Make, Ever Since New York by Harry, Vision of Love, Baby Now That I Found You, Spending Time With You. Like, a lot of this is the same artist. Like I said, if I love an artist, I would listen to their entire album on repeat. So a lot of this is just like the same like 4 people, and you definitely notice that, like I already said earlier. But whenever you make a good album, I gotta listen to it all the way through. I feel like I'm more so of an albums person than listening to singles, and if I like your singles and I listen to a whole album and I like it, you've got me hooked. So that's why a lot of this is the same people like I was talking about earlier, and so it's getting kind of repetitive in the artists, but they all, like, what else can I say? Kiwi by Harry, Daydream, Interlude. That made my top 100 songs. Okay, I like this song. I like it. People saying this is the worst song on Daydream, go get some taste. It's definitely not the worst song on Daydream when I Saw You Exist, but we move. Yes by Beyonce. Really wish this would have been higher, because I really love this song. I had a phase with this song earlier this year where I was just listening to it on repeat. Probably my favorite song on her first record. Black Cat by Janet, Only Angel, Harry, Outside, Mariah, Daddy Lessons, Beyonce, Escapade, Janet, Meet Me in the Hallway, Harry Styles, GTFO by Mariah. And again, the thing with Caution is similar with Butterfly. She released another version of Caution, so I just went and I liked all the songs from that version. So if they would have combined it, then some of these Mariah songs would have been higher on my list, but whatever. Hopefully next year everything's good with that. And then Be Alive by Beyonce. A lot of people didn't want to give this song the love that it deserved, and this song ate. She should have won that Oscar, and the fact that she didn't doesn't sit right with me. She absolutely ate with this song. Amazing vocal performance. Then Someday Is Tonight by Janet Jackson, Two Ghosts by Harry Styles, Fly Away, Butterfly, Reprise, Mariah Carey. Surprised that this made my top 100, even though I really like the song. Back Up Plan, Girl and Tom. This made my top 100. This made my top 100, seriously. Again, I don't really know how they decide the top 100 songs, whatever, but this is really surprising to me. I had a phase earlier this year whenever I was listening to a lot of music from The Voice contestants, like in the very beginning, so I get why some stuff is on there, but Backup Plan, I was really shocked to see this on here. And then Trust a Try, Janet Jackson, From the Dining Table, Harry Styles, Open Arms, Mariah Carey, and Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, Jashika Maple. Really glad that that made the top 100. Is How Can I Use the Pain on here? Did I go through that? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at that on my computer because I don't think it has a search bar here. So I have a few notes I wanted to add. One, I basically knew who my top artists were gonna be because I remember who I listened to all the way throughout the year. Also, I had those sites like Stats for Spotify where you can see your stats, and I check those all the time. I tried not to check as much toward the end because I wanted to have some element of surprise. I accidentally checked before, so I basically knew like where most of my top artists were gonna be for the most part. So I kind of knew. I think Beyonce threw as a shocker because I thought Harry was gonna be there because I listened a lot, but I basically kind of knew who my top artists were gonna be. So it wasn't really that much of a surprise. And sort of a similar things for my top songs. I stopped looking at a certain point, so I definitely think I was more surprised in that regard. But yeah, I kind of had somewhat of an idea, but I try to stay away for a little bit so I could see, but normally I check my stats a lot throughout the year. And then the second thing is I forgot that Spotify was doing this thing where artists that you like would like have a little message on there for you to watch until my sister brought it up, and I checked mine and none of the artists that were in my top 5 did one, which sucks unfortunately. But yeah, I wanted to put that in there. I looked, I tried multiple times, and unfortunately there isn't one. But just a few things that I wanted to add. Alright, so that is going to be it for my Spotify wrap this year. Really glad to be sitting down and recording this video because I've been waiting all day to look at it and everything. And overall, my thoughts on it, I'm happy with this year. I think that I did better than last year in terms of my artists and stuff. And so that's also important as well. And so Taylor Swift didn't make my top 5 this year. She didn't make my top 5 because Midnights wasn't released until the end of October, so I didn't have enough time to go on my Spotify wrapped, unfortunately. And so if it would have been like extended, she probably would have made my top 5. But yeah, I kind of just listened to all her albums a lot, and I didn't listen to her as much as I did this year as I did in previous years, just because like a lot of my artists I listen to in rotation. So I listen to someone really obsessively for a few months, I take a break, I listen to someone else, and then I come back. So yeah, this year Taylor wasn't as dominant as she was last year. I'm listening to her a lot right now with the new album, so she didn't make my top 5. Fiona Apple didn't make my top 5. I didn't listen to her as much, but I still love Fiona Apple, one of my favorite artists ever. So those are like a couple like little changes. I listened to less music than last year, you know, a few different genres kind of like thrown in. And I mean, urban, contemporary, why can't you guys just say R&B? Why can't you guys just say contemporary R&B? Like, I don't, like, overall I think that I did a better job this year in terms of the representation of my songs and stuff like that. I'll sing more songs. I was like, finally, okay, this was supposed to be in last year, now it's here. Or, oh, I listened to this a lot, I get why it's here. I think that some of the little sayings that they have are cringy, but that's just how Spotify Wrapped is. So that's gonna be like my entire Spotify Wrapped. I wanted to take a second really quickly to talk about my Apple Music replay, which I went over, and I'll probably have it on the screen right next to me just showing everything. But like I said, I have Apple Music that I listen to sometimes. Anita Baker, most of her music is not on Spotify. I love Anita Baker, and so because of that, you'll see that she is my top artist on my Apple Music replay because I just use that to listen to her. I did listen to like some Mariah that I have downloaded on my phone that's not on Spotify, and like some other stuff, but yeah, she's like dominating it with like top song, top album, top artist overall. So she's on there in case you guys wanted to see my Apple Music replay. Sometimes I use Apple Music because the albums aren't available on Spotify, or also because it's like I go to Spotify to listen to the album and Spotify crashes, so then I'm like, I want to listen to this, I go to Apple Music. So I do use Apple Music sometimes. 99% of the time I do listen to Spotify, but like I said, right now on the screen you're gonna see all my Apple Music stats and whatever. And yeah, it's pretty low, the play counts in relativity to my Spotify, but yeah, that's my Apple Music stats just in case you guys are curious, just showing everything. And yeah, that's my Spotify Wrap. So I would love to know what you guys' Spotify Wrap look like. Let me know down below in the comments who's your top artist, who is your top song. Let me know all that information because I just need to know this. I love whenever people share their Spotify Wrap. Also, if you have your Apple Music replay, share that with me in the comments down below. I'd love to see that. Or if you're on another streaming service, show me your equivalent of the Spotify Wrap recap. Let's discuss in the comments. I really like to know who you guys' top artists are and all that kind of stuff. Did anything surprise you? Who are you gonna get this year? Did it not surprise you? Let me know all that stuff. Or you guys can also DM me your little infographics on my Twitter and my Instagram if you guys want. It's gonna be linked down below in the description. Also, I did do a video on my Spotify Wrap last year, so if you guys want to see like my top artists and my top songs and all that, I will have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can check that out. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a like down below. It helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You guys can subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Give it the bell, you get a notification to your phone when I post and not miss when brand new videos come out. The first link down below in the description is going to be my second channel. So I just posted a brand new video on there, and I did my reactions to the music video for Rina Sawayama's song Frankenstein. Also the music video reaction for Janet Jackson's song Together Again, the Deeper remix. I talked about my favorite Halloween costumes, some Mariah Carey updates in terms of like what she's been up to lately and some thoughts on there. I shared my little review of My Policeman, the new movie Harry Styles is in, and so much more. I also do little recaps in terms of like my videos. So I recapped every single video that I made in October, which was a lot. So if you want to know how I come up with my video ideas and the entire process from filming to editing to putting it out and just all my creative process, I always talk about it in these little recaps on my second channel. So you guys can check that out. It'll be the first link down below in the description. And then I'm also going to have my Twitter, my Instagram, my Spotify if you like to follow me as well. I might try to have the playlist on my profile for my top 100 songs. Last year they did us dirty, and whenever someone had their playlist and you clicked on it, it just took you to yours. I have no clue if that's going to happen this year, but I'll try to make it public on my account this year. And if it doesn't work, then maybe I can just make my own playlist and show my top 100 songs from this year. But I'll try to have that link down below, or maybe just on my profile or something like that. And then lastly, I'm going to have links to educate you guys on important situations. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.